What if I told you that the way she treats you, whether it's with disrespect, indifference, or constant tests, is not a reflection of your worth, but rather a response to the power you unknowingly surrender? Too many men today have lost touch with their intrinsic value. They chase endlessly, seeking validation from women who, in turn, lose respect for them. They collapse at the first sign of resistance, mistaking compliance for connection and desperation for devotion. But a Stoic man understands a deeper truth. He does not seek to destroy a woman's ego out of revenge. He dismantles it by refusing to be ruled by it. His power lies in his unshakable self-control, his ability to walk away when necessary, and his indifference to approval. Women do not admire men who plead, apologize for their standards, or compromise their values just to be liked. They admire men who lead with quiet strength, who remain unfazed in the face of emotional turbulence, and who operate with an aura of self-respect so potent that it demands admiration. If you want to reclaim your masculinity, earn respect effortlessly, and embody the presence of a truly high-value man, then pay close attention. Here are 7 Stoic rules that will break her ego, not by force, but by making her recognize your undeniable worth. Rule number 1. Detachment is power. One of the biggest mistakes men make in relationships is becoming too emotionally invested too soon. They allow their emotions to dictate their actions, overthinking every text, overanalyzing every interaction, and overreacting to even the slightest change in her behavior. This emotional turbulence is not only exhausting but also signals insecurity. Women, by nature, are highly attuned to emotional shifts. They can sense when a man is too attached, and rather than finding it endearing, they see it as a sign of weakness. A Stoic man, however, operates differently. He cultivates emotional detachment, an unshakable presence that refuses to be controlled by fleeting emotions. If she pulls away, he does not chase. If she tests his patience, he remains calm. If she tries to provoke jealousy, he stays composed. This unwavering steadiness makes him attractive because it signals strength and self-sufficiency. The moment a man stops seeking validation from a woman, he reclaims his power. A man who is detached is a man who cannot be played. Instead of reacting to every emotional whim, he stands firm, leading the dynamic on his terms. Emotional detachment does not mean indifference. Rather, it is the ability to maintain control over your emotions instead of allowing them to control you. A Stoic man understands that his self-worth is not determined by a woman's approval or attention. He is driven by his purpose, his principles, and his own internal validation. When a man masters this mindset, he naturally commands respect. Women are drawn to men who possess an air of mystery, who do not crumble under pressure, and who remain composed in all circumstances. When you stop reacting impulsively, whether to her tests, her games, or her attempts to stir emotions, you become unpredictable, and unpredictability breeds intrigue. Furthermore, emotional detachment makes a man more desirable because it shifts the power dynamic. The moment you show that you are unshaken by her actions, she begins to chase your validation instead. This is not about manipulation, but about demonstrating that your world does not revolve around her. The truth is, women do not want a man who is emotionally fragile. They seek a man who can be their rock, someone they can respect, admire, and feel secure with. A man who cannot be emotionally swayed is a man who commands the highest level of attraction. This approach extends beyond relationships. It is a philosophy for life. In every area, from business to friendships, those who are ruled by emotions are easily manipulated. But the man who remains steady, who does not panic under pressure, and who does not crave approval is the one who ultimately holds the power. The moment you detach emotionally, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering and place yourself in a position of true control. Rule number 2. Never validate disrespect. Respect is not something you can demand. It must be earned through your actions, boundaries, and unwavering self-respect. The quickest way to lose it is by tolerating behaviors that undermine your worth, such as disrespect, flakiness, or manipulative mind games. When someone, especially a woman, playfully insults you, disregards your time, or tests your patience, the worst thing you can do is engage. Reacting emotionally only feeds into the game, signaling that your sense of self is dependent on external validation. A Stoic man, however, does not argue, does not chase, and does not seek approval. He simply exists in his own power. Silence becomes his weapon, an unshakable stance that communicates everything without a single wasted word. The moment he makes it clear that disrespect is a deal breaker, the dynamic shifts. She will either recognize his value and correct her behavior, or she will lose access to him entirely. And when that happens, the ego, the force behind the games, begins to crumble. True power is not in control over others, but in control over oneself. When the ego begins to crumble, the illusion of control dissipates. At this point, the manipulator is left with two choices: either to adjust and approach with genuine respect, or to walk away, leaving their own ego bruised by their inability to provoke or control. A Stoic man understands that his value does not depend on being accepted or constantly validated by others. His peace is rooted in his own principles and self-awareness. By holding steadfast to his boundaries and not tolerating disrespect, he sets a standard that others must meet to earn his time and attention. This is not about arrogance or superiority, but rather about a quiet strength that doesn't need to prove itself. The Stoic does not engage in petty battles. His silence is a powerful statement that speaks volumes, leaving others to realize that only those who bring genuine respect and integrity will remain in his life. This is the way of a man who understands that true power lies not in the drama, but in the peace of self-mastery. Rule number 3. Silence is more powerful than reaction. Most men often find themselves caught in the trap of over-explaining, arguing, or trying to prove their worth, believing that their words will validate them. However, the truth is, the more words you use, the weaker you appear. This is because verbalizing your thoughts can make you seem insecure, as if you're constantly seeking approval or trying to defend your position. In contrast, silence is one of the most powerful tools at your disposal. When faced with provocation, whether she's testing you, trying to spark jealousy, or expecting an emotional response, your best move is often to remain silent. A simple smile, a calm expression, and no response at all can leave her disoriented and unsure. This silence creates an air of mystery that builds an aura of power. When you don't reveal yourself or your emotions, it leaves the other person unable to predict your next move. And power, in turn, strips away the ego, as it forces others to confront the fact that they cannot manipulate or control you. The more you master the power of silence, the more you strengthen your own position, gaining control of both the situation and your own emotional state. When you remain silent, you don't just protect your peace. You also show that you're in complete control of yourself. The need to react or engage is often rooted in insecurity or a desire to gain validation from others. But true strength lies in your ability to stay composed, regardless of external pressures. Silence doesn't mean weakness or avoidance. It means that you are above the need for petty interactions. When you refrain from reacting, you're signaling that you don't require validation to know your own worth. This creates an invisible boundary around you that others sense and respect. Moreover, silence often forces others to reveal their true intentions. When you don't react emotionally, they lose their sense of control over you and are left scrambling to figure out how to provoke a response. It takes emotional maturity to stay calm in these situations, and that maturity is what ultimately earns respect. Over time, your silence will become a powerful statement, a statement that says you're not here to play games, that you're a man of substance who cannot be swayed by trivial things. The more you harness this power, the less you'll feel the need to explain or justify yourself to anyone. Eventually, people will begin to recognize your silence as strength, and they will be drawn to it, not because of what you say, but because of what you don't need to say. Rule number 4, never seek external validation. A high-value man understands that his worth is not contingent upon external validation, whether from a woman, society, or anyone else. He is grounded in his own sense of self and defines his value by his actions, principles, and the pursuit of his own purpose. Women, in particular, are drawn to men who validate themselves, men who are secure in their identity and do not seek reassurance or approval from others. The moment a woman detects that a man is seeking her approval, she instinctively begins to distance herself. This is because, at a subconscious level, people respect those who are not dependent on others for their sense of self-worth. A high-value man understands that validation must come from within, not from fleeting moments of external affection. Instead of seeking validation, he focuses on his own growth, his goals, discipline, and mission. He allows his actions to speak for him and does not let anyone's words, particularly those of a woman, determine his value. His principles are non-negotiable, and he refuses to compromise them for short-term gains. When a man stops needing validation, the dynamic shifts. Suddenly, the woman will find herself seeking his approval, as his value becomes clear through his unwavering self-respect and purpose-driven life. This shift in dynamic happens because a high-value man exudes confidence and strength, qualities that naturally attract respect and admiration. When a man is not desperate for validation, he becomes a man of mystery and substance, someone who is in control of his own life and decisions. Women, like anyone else, are drawn to this level of certainty because it signals stability and emotional maturity. A man who doesn't need external affirmation is free to focus on his ambitions, rather than being distracted by seeking others' approval. His inner confidence is infectious, and it cultivates a sense of admiration in those around him. Moreover, this self-validation doesn't just apply to romantic relationships, it permeates all aspects of a man's life. He becomes the type of person who lives by his own principles, who is aligned with his values, and who has a clear vision of where he is headed. He is not swayed by the opinions of others, nor does he waste time chasing after fleeting validation. His decisions are deliberate, rooted in purpose, and grounded in his sense of self-worth. This mindset allows him to build lasting connections because people, whether they are friends, colleagues, or romantic partners, respect him for who he truly is, not for the version of himself he is trying to present to gain approval. As a result, the people he attracts into his life will be more aligned with his values, rather than ones who are only interested in him for superficial reasons. Ultimately, when you no longer seek validation from others, you create an aura of independence and strength. This independence not only attracts respect but also fosters deeper, more meaningful relationships. People are drawn to authenticity and self-sufficiency, traits that are inextricably linked to a man who has mastered the art of self-validation. When you stop chasing after external approval, you start living authentically, and the people who truly value you will gravitate toward your energy, appreciating you for exactly who you are. Rule number 5, don't be predictable. In relationships, many men fall into the trap of being overly predictable. They text at the same time every day, react in similar ways to various situations, and often go out of their way to please their partner. While this might seem like a way to show affection or care, it often leads to a loss of attraction. The truth is, predictability kills attraction. When things become too routine, excitement fades, and the spark starts to dim. To keep things exciting and maintain control in the dynamic, it's crucial to be unpredictable. Responding when you feel like it, rather than when she expects it, can keep her on her toes and maintain a sense of mystery. Being vague about your plans, rather than offering up every detail, keeps her intrigued. Most importantly, stop feeling the need to explain everything you're thinking. Let her wonder. This unpredictability disrupts the natural flow of control and shifts the power dynamic. A woman's ego thrives on control, and when she can't predict your behavior, she feels that control slipping away. As a result, her interest intensifies and she begins to chase, wanting to regain the sense of control she once had. This shift in dynamic is incredibly powerful. When you stop being predictable, you signal to her that you're not easily accessible or easily understood. This unpredictability creates a challenge, and people are naturally drawn to what challenges them. The mystery surrounding your actions, your decisions, and your timing makes you appear more intriguing and dynamic. It's not about playing games or being manipulative. It's about creating a sense of curiosity and excitement that keeps her engaged. By taking control of the flow and timing of communication, you show that you're confident enough to set your own pace, which subtly signals to her that you're not emotionally dependent on her approval. This makes you stand out because you're no longer just another person trying to be on her schedule or meet her expectations. Instead, you become someone who commands respect, someone who makes her feel as though she has to earn your attention and affection. This shift in power dynamics, when done with balance and confidence, can make the attraction deepen, as she becomes more invested in figuring out what makes you tick and ultimately in trying to win you over. Rule number 6, walk away when necessary. The strongest move a man can make in relationships is to walk away and never look back. While many men cling on too long, fearing the loss of what they've invested emotionally or materially, a high-value man understands that true power lies in detachment. Detachment isn't a sign of weakness, but of strength, for it signals to others that your value is not dependent on their approval or attention. Scarcity creates value. When you're always available, you risk losing your worth in the eyes of others. If a woman is constantly testing your boundaries, fluctuating between hot and cold, or making you feel unappreciated, the best response is silence and distance. By withdrawing, you stop playing into the cycle of validation-seeking behavior, creating the space for her to reassess her feelings. A woman will only truly value you if she knows that you're a prize she could lose. The moment you walk away without hesitation, you force her to confront her ego, her insecurities, and the reality that you are not someone to be taken for granted. Walking away, then, is not just a power move. It is an act of self-respect and a reminder of your own worth. When you walk away and refuse to chase after someone who's not treating you with the respect you deserve, you send a clear message. You are not easily replaceable, and you won't tolerate being undervalued. This stance is not about playing games or being manipulative. It's about protecting your emotional energy and maintaining your dignity. A high-value man doesn't beg for attention or chase after someone who doesn't reciprocate his efforts. Instead, he prioritizes his own peace, growth, and happiness. Walking away gives you the power to dictate your own terms, and it demonstrates that you are in control of your life, not at the mercy of someone else's whims or moods. This self-sufficiency is deeply attractive because it signifies that you are whole and content on your own. A woman's reaction to your absence is a reflection of her true feelings. If she cares, she will be forced to confront the reality that you are someone worth losing. The fear of loss creates a sense of urgency and respect, things she cannot feel when you remain a constant in her life, taking her treatment for granted. This is why silence and distance often work better than begging for explanations or trying to change her mind. It's not about manipulation. It's about maintaining your boundaries and ensuring that your presence in someone's life is earned, not expected. By walking away, you show that your value is not tied to her approval and that you are willing to risk it all rather than settle for less than you deserve. Rule number 7, purpose over women. A man's mission is the bedrock upon which his life is built. Your purpose is the foundation that shapes every decision, action, and interaction you make. When you define your mission and make it your top priority, everything else falls into place. Women are naturally attracted to men who possess a clear vision, a strong sense of direction, and an unwavering focus on their goals. These qualities signal strength, ambition, and stability, traits that are both appealing and magnetic. When you prioritize your mission over seeking external validation, something powerful happens. You shift your energy from chasing approval to exuding confidence. You're no longer desperate for attention. Instead, you radiate a presence that commands respect and admiration. And here's the ironic twist. When you stop chasing, the very women you once pursued begin to chase you. This shift in focus is what makes you irresistible. Not because you're trying to win their attention, but because your purpose and self-assuredness make you someone they can't ignore. When you prioritize your mission, you're signaling to the world that you are not someone who can be easily swayed or distracted. You're grounded in your purpose, and that creates an aura of mystery and strength. Women sense this underlying certainty in a man, and it's deeply attractive. It's not just about what you do. It's about how committed you are to something greater than yourself. When your mission becomes the center of your life, it gives you the clarity to avoid distractions, especially in relationships. You stop seeking validation and instead find fulfillment within your own progress. As a result, women find themselves drawn to you, not because you're pursuing them, but because your focus is so captivating and your energy is so aligned with purpose. It's a powerful dynamic. When you stop chasing, you not only become more attractive, but you also elevate the quality of relationships you attract. It's about the energy you put out and the unwavering commitment to your own path. This magnetic confidence is what makes you truly desirable. Conclusion: if you master these 7 rules, you will never need to intentionally break a woman's ego, because she will break it herself when she realizes she has no control over you. A high-value man doesn't engage in petty games or manipulations. He simply lives by his own code, upholds his principles, and remains detached from external influences. This detachment doesn't make him cold. It makes him commanding. He doesn't need to chase validation or attention because his very presence and self-assurance demand respect without effort. Want to become that man? Start today. Detach from the opinions and expectations of others. Focus on your own growth, and never let anyone define your worth. Your power lies in your control over yourself, how you respond, how you act, and how you stay true to your inner values. By mastering this, you cultivate the unshakable strength to move through the world confidently and peacefully. Stay stoic. Stay unbreakable.